My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only, and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. This is a stalker, obsessed and wants to be by me. Very, very psychotic. Want to be as close to me as possible. Same stalking. It's the middle of the night, 12:15 to be exact. This is Satan. I had to go over in front of me and take a sip. Okay. This is stalking. That's stalking. And that's why the U.S. government's being prosecuted.
So are they. They're being prosecuted as well, but the U.S. government's being prosecuted. It's responsible for this psychotic, obsessive stalking. And while they're doing that, coming around me, stalking me, and keeping your back to me, you are a whole weirdo stalker. The government's flying over my head at the same time. Stalking. P.O.C. This is the Ontario Town Square. The entity is now stalking with commercial planes. And that's where they were doing that before over at the library, stalking with commercial planes. Those are the companies that the military are using to engage in gang stalking in the U.S. And they're going to be federally prosecuted for admittedly engaging in terrorism, which is what is going to be regretful in court. And that's how you know that they're stalking as well, because the entity's flying over my head and they're admittedly engaging in what is stalking with another plane right now. Like I said that they are. The entity is stalking by a smaller plane flying over the top of my head. And the entity is engaging in what is openly, conspicuously gang stalking in commercial planes. But there are no circumstances when you want to admittedly engage in gang stalking under any circumstances. This is the failure of gang stalking. They're unintelligent. Okay? This is an entity of homosexual military personnel who are engaged in criminal activity that they have been caught for, and they're engaging in what is admitting at every angle all of the guilty parties. And it's going to include federally prosecuting companies for conspiring murder. Companies like every airline company at the Ontario International Airport, while they are admittedly gang stalking with the U.S. military that's also using smaller government planes, one of which flew over the top of my head, and not coincidentally, less than 30 seconds later, a larger, louder commercial plane that is never included in any takeoff from the airport. That's the government admittedly monitoring me now and gang stalking with the government that's using smaller planes flying over the top of my head, while a stalker is engaging in what is obsessing over me at the park at 12:17 in the morning. Those are the demons that are unintelligent, engaging in what is gang stalking. And the reason why their unintelligence is relevant, it's not just to humiliate them, but it's because I'm going to prosecute them, take all of the money, and they're going to prison. That's why being an idiot is very costly. This is P.O.C. It is now April 30th, 2026. And this is an entity that does not take a break from engaging in what is criminal monitoring. The actual purpose of everything that's going on in the United States. 24-hour surveillance everywhere, at all public and private places, if you want to put it in those terms. But everything about life in the United States is under surveillance. That's why it's 12:18 in the morning. And you have the entity that is gang stalking with commercial airline planes that are admittedly engaging in surveillance, while the government's engaging in what is stalking by flying over me, supposedly in a surreptitious manner over the top of my head. And it's not surreptitious. It's not. And I've been documenting it. And there's a reason why the entity wants the commercial airline planes to be seen. And in order to disregard or overshadow the smaller, nothing is being overshadowed. The U.S. military is maintaining all manner of aerial surveillance. And I'm going to prosecute the U.S. military for trying to kill me and for being mentally ill and sharing what is facilitating criminal monitoring, surveillance, stalking, and psychotic means, such as with light, what the people that say the population of demons are doing, while they maintain businesses to do it. This is the pattern of conduct. It is currently, like I stated, it's 12:20 a.m. on April 30th, 2026. This isn't traffic. They're not going anywhere. They're stalking. And that's, again, every corporate entity that's going to be prosecuted for surveillance. Wells Fargo, John Stewart Company, the Senior Citizen Complex, Metro 102, Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments, Sarah's Regis Group, the City of Ontario itself, all of the people of the state that are residing at these venues. This is that's just an example regarding all of the entity that's engaged in what is stalking thousands of times over, stalking with light, stalking one person after another as an entity acts as one, stalking together. In commercial airline planes, the commercial airline companies are being prosecuted for what the people of the state are doing on the roads and the highways as well. They are one entity acting together, conspiring murder, doing so as a corporate entity in concert with the demons that are stalking everywhere that I'm going. This is an entity that's admittedly engaging in that, and there is no need to ask whether Delta Airline pleads innocent or guilty. They have admittedly engaged in what is gang stalking me, including while you hear loud plane activity at 12:15 in the morning. P.O.C. It is currently 12:21 a.m.
This is P.O.C. And I already documented this housing area, this townhomes. They're monitoring while they're engaged in construction. Okay, everybody's monitoring. There's no excuse, but that's literally what they're doing. They're just not too bright. This is a don't know if that's... Alrighty, this is IHOP that is located at the intersection of Euclid and A as in Apple Street. IHOP that's very active regarding criminal monitoring based on the intersection that it's at. So I have, over the years, documented the pattern of conduct upon arriving in Upland or upon leaving Upland, and this is where the entity, and it's because of the means of making sure that I'm surrounded. So the entity is engaging in a lot of criminal summoning at this intersection. The entity is engaged in what is a lot of stalking by plane, cable airport at this intersection, and that is about maintaining surrounding activity. And this is what the entity is doing, supplementing for the absence of presence or the absence of effective engineer light or something. I just want to be clear, inside of IHOP, and you need to know this about IHOP in general, while I'm being monitored, my vagina is being monitored, they're into making your hotcakes and monitoring your genitalia. So that combination of focus is what you need to be aware of regarding IHOP. IHOP is another venue where actually the purpose is surveillance, and they just so happen to be engaged in pancakes, okay? Now, how much you're into that focus of actually monitoring your genitalia and distracting you with selling you pancakes, that's up to you, but it's my job to report that to you. And you have some very active vagina monitors which is the state of California, the city of Upland, the facilitating venue, where they're engaging in what is frequent activity creation. Upon walking into the bathroom, a vagina monitor goes into the male restroom. And again, remember, everything that the entity do, they're not intelligent, but they are demons. And so you're going to analyze everything that unintelligent minions are engaging in, and you're going to prosecute a government, you're going to prosecute those minions as well. And this is also a RICO case, so I'm going to drain and prosecute literally the corporation. IHOP, the company, the logo itself is a criminal, and this is how you're going to enforce your rights against a government that's creating corporate entities to keep you under surveillance. So the entity is engaging in what is going into the male restroom, which is stalking. The demons that get in front of you and go into the bathroom, they're stalking. Okay, they're tracking your steps, and this is what an employee that comes from the kitchen to go. And if you don't think that this is about surveillance and they are not concerned about pancakes, that's the illustration right there. Abandoning the kitchen to go into the bathroom and command posts regarding vagina that is in the vicinity that's kept under surveillance by IHOP. And as they walk into the bathroom, that's relevant positioning and stalking on behalf of an entity. And they're maintaining ongoing audible activity, walking in and out of the bathroom, at the very least opening and closing the door, which is activity creation, which is also, it's mentally ill behavior, and your purpose is the vagina. These are sex offenders that are preparing your pancakes. Okay, I want to document these active vagina monitors. Edward Paul 10 Thomas 63, which is a paper plate on a Tundra, a Toyota Tundra in the parking lot of IHOP, a red Toyota Tundra. And you also have license 8 David Mary Jerry 306. That's a white Toyota Solara in the parking lot of the IHOP. And 9 Victor Nancy Sam 662. And those are, again, the 3 vehicles that are parked in the parking lot. I documented more than that outside in relevant position to IHOP. These are demons that are engaged in relevant positioning regarding ambushing genitalia. They are prepared to engage in vagina monitoring, surveillance of genitalia, which is, again, the U.S. military have been brought down to size. They are not honorable. They are not noble. They're not even stable people regarding men and women. These are homosexual psychopaths that are engaging in criminal activity, surveillance, and warfare upon American citizens. And what the worker demons, which is what the people of the state are, these intellectually impotent minions that are stalking from place to place on behalf of the U.S. military that is maintaining criminal surveillance with them and through them. It shows how small they are, and it also shows how maniacal and psychopathic and perverted the United States is when the U.S. military, when that which is representing the country is engaged in something as egregious and something that you have to refer to. What is vagina monitoring? That's the purpose. It's literally breaking down what the U.S. military is engaged in, what they're focused on, and it also shows the pervert that is the United States government. Okay, this is why you have a company, a corporation, a restaurant engaging in what is surveillance in a bathroom, and that is, again, humiliation of the demon possessed of the United States, of the United States military that would liken itself to being a superpower. No, actually, the United States is a hypocrite, and that is something that is going to be met with regarding inevitable consequences, judgment. And part of that judgment is, a key part of that judgment is putting the United States in the category that it belongs in. They're nothing but vagina monitors. They're a bunch of raving homosexuals who are trying to brainwash everyone else into the hell-bound theories that they have absorbed because they have no hope, and they're stalking other people that do, targeting them. And then they're cloaking themselves as being noble men and women, a part of the military. The military are they're murderers, and they're stalkers. They're mentally ill, literally. And they have maintained a whole system that's designed to maintain the normalcy as their sick level as opposed to what is normal and healthy. The mentally ill, the demon possessed, that is, in other words, trying to establish the norm as what is the sickness that I am documenting. And that is not the norm, and it doesn't create the norm. This is exposing what is pervasive sickness and corruption. And this is down to monitoring my vagina in the bathroom of an IHOP in Upland, California. All right, and I did document a plethora of license plates this morning that are engaged in the pattern of conduct. It is currently, while the entity is engaged in this, so I'm just going to go ahead and document. This is the entity putting its own self in perspective. This is 7:12 a.m. Ongoing sexual violence at where you would, again, not think and not suppose. They come into the IHOP with the intention, the hope to encounter me, to participate in keeping me under surveillance. These people have no lives, they have no point. They're not even people, they're demons, okay? That's why they're lurking in the night to engage in what is touching me with light. These are dead spirits that are using people that are zombies. They are literally existing to monitor another person. That is the quintessence of lacking any purpose whatsoever. And like I stated, that is the type of person that is inclined to commit suicide, as opposed to the narrative that has been filtered out here, and that's because this entity commits murder. And they're controlling that narrative. They are the ones that are inclined to commit suicide. It is currently 7:13 a.m. All right, as IHOP personnel are repeatedly opening and closing the door, they're doing so monitoring in concert with the demons who I've documented. The demon that's at Grossman's Law Center pacing around with the lawnmower and now with the leaf blower, he's monitoring my vagina. 7 Charlie Victor Charlie 440, the same. And you have them opening and closing the door with regard to activity creation and crossing path and light activity, while those that are inside and outside of the building are gang stalking. Again, this is a sex offender, license plate 99089 Edward 1. This is Grossman Law Center that's also engaged in it. Grossman Law Center's employee engaged in vagina monitoring while they're in creating activity by walking in and out of the bathroom. This is license 9 Wendy Mary Zebra 069. That is the entity that's engaging in the pattern of conduct together while you're engaging what is, first of all, that's sick behavior with regard to the purpose of walking in and out of the bathroom and then playing stupid. I'm asking, is something wrong? Because it's a small bathroom. So I'm thinking, do you need something? And I am, again, aware of what they're doing, but I'm always entertaining the psychopaths regarding, oh, they're not gang stalking and I'm not documenting. I'm genuinely perplexed about, is everything okay? Because you keep walking in and out of the bathroom, and they are ignorant about what's going on, have no idea, and stating, oh, I just got here. So I'm going to read the license plates again. License 41466 Wendy 2. They're engaged in vagina monitoring. And I documented Metrolink. Metrolink's a sex offender engaging in that, the corporation. It's not just those that are here. It's an entity, and I'm also documenting those that are literally engaging in it and those that are in relevant position while it's underway. But you need to understand, the city of Pomona is engaged in vagina monitoring. The entire state, as I'm documenting an entity that shares a pattern of conduct, meaning it's understanding that it's as though one person did it because the group shares the pattern of conduct. The entities engaged in vagina monitoring together, and it includes Metrolink. 8 David Mary Jerry 306, in case I didn't read that one. 5 Frank Robert Jerry 440. This female, a Latina female, claims that she just got here, and this is a license plate that was not here before. But I do want to state that it states United States Marine Corps on the license plate, and this is an entity that's engaged in what is targeting, especially as I'm revealing that the United States military are a bunch of homosexual cult members, and they are engaged in what is criminal activity against American citizens. And so you're looking at these demons that are also putting that badge on their license plates so they want to be identified. This is a part of them sacrificing themselves. License 5 Frank Robert Jerry 440. That is a vehicle that was not in the parking lot before, engaged in vagina monitoring while IHOP is engaged in what is entering and exiting the bathroom to monitor my vagina. And that is, again, the U.S. military. While I'm in the bathroom referring to them, it's not a coincidence that they are in the parking lot, representing by that third party. Well, it's a third party with regard to they're not officially engaged in military action right now. They are military. It is military action because it's gang stalking. It's the U.S. government. But when you are, for example, you're at home and you're eating your pancakes in the kitchen, you are not in that official capacity. When I'm documenting you at the Pentagon, and you are on the job, you're in your official capacity as a state actor. But I just want to be clear, these are demons that are mentally ill, and the U.S. Marine Corps is monitoring my vagina with IHOP and, in fact, engaging in sexual violence, as I am referring to the fact that the United States Marine Corps and every other branch of the U.S. military are engaged in warfare against American citizens. They are terrorists, and they're homosexuals, in case you did not know that. They live their lives, and there's a lot of history behind that. Say nothing, see nothing. The type of legislation that's being created for equal treatment, these are demons. And I'm just giving you, with regard to real life example regarding what is very real, and it's more pervasive than would be acknowledged. Those that are living their lives as heterosexuals are homosexuals, which they practice with regard to what is being a cult member. GK6B19, that's a Nevada plate. All right. So this is an entity that's engaging in what is the maintenance of an illusion. Those that are homosexual are those that are engaging in sexual relationships with someone of the same sex, and that whether they're in the closet or out of the closet, and that is not the case. Okay, the entity is engaging in what is maintaining an illusion. They are maintaining what is an ongoing satanic system. And so you're talking about homosexuality that has nothing to do with acknowledging someone of the same gender as yourself. You're maintaining, it's essentially the same thing as being in the closet, but they're doing it for a functional purpose. It's almost like their job to engage in homosexual activity with regard to what is the spiritual darkness that they are that they are into. And they do this. Satan, in other words, has blinded them and deceived them into thinking that when you engage in the abomination of homosexuality, that you are garnering spiritual power, and you are not. This is why the United States military is being humiliated and being shown to be a cult full of homosexuals. 7 Sam Henry George 476. Homosexuals who are envious of myself, a woman, number one, and number two, a black woman, and number three, a black woman that doesn't have any military training, no law enforcement training. I don't need that. And I'm also not engaged in any sexual activity of a homosexual nature, nor is that how you garner spiritual power and authority. And so they are the clowns, the homosexual clowns that they look like. 9YDU394. 9ACH710, all engaged in sexual violence, and so is the Grossman Law Center. While that sex offender paces around the property with a lawnmower and a leaf blower, creating activity, he's pacing out in relevant position to a bathroom where inside the IHOP employees are opening and closing the doors so that a sex offender, a homosexual, that is engaged in what is being envious of the vagina that I have, okay, while they have sex with people of the same sex, while they practice homosexuality, which is demonic. Homosexuality is demonic. It's a spirit, and it is demonic with regard to your sexual proclivities with those of the same sex, and it is an abomination. And the entity, and this is not about opinion. This is the reality. This is why they lost, because you are inferior to the power of the Holy Spirit. And the Word of God you would have known that if you would have been walking in obedience to the Word of God. You would have known that. And you wouldn't have been deceived by Satan, who wants you to burn in hell for being a homosexual, dying in that state. Nonetheless, the entity is engaging in what is practicing homosexuality. And this is the key point regarding the cult that are the U.S. military, the United States government. Okay, so this is the entity that's engaging in that, and they're doing so on behalf of minions. These are demons that are literally brainwashed, and they are zombies that are formally trained, if you will, in combat and warfare, but they're untrained in spiritual warfare. All they are demons that have permission to kill each other. They don't have any permission to touch a child of God, and that is what they're going to be judged for, and it's going to be severe judgment, and you're witnessing that severe judgment, and it includes outing the United States military. All right, the United States military that's attacking innocent American citizens like myself. Okay, so this is the P.O.C. This is vagina monitoring by the U.S. military. The U.S. military is why Mike LORENZ feels so comfortable gang stalking me by helicopter. In fact, the U.S. military are using the Ontario Police Department helicopters gang stalking me. And Ontario police are going to be prosecuted all the same. This is at a local, state, and federal level. They're being federally prosecuted. They're not getting any break. They're engaged in that pattern of conduct in whatever city that police department is gang stalking. They are domestic terrorists. You're being prosecuted. What you need to understand that this is the U.S. government's pattern of conduct. The U.S. government's full of what are, like I was discussing last night, it is about, unfortunately, because these are perverts and this is demonic and this is cult conduct, it's about sexual perversion. So these are people that are gang stalking, and they're a part of a massive cult, which is literally the practice of the United States, sacrificing people, doing so while you're initiating people, getting into a gay sex ritual, and this is how you're into the cult, and this is how you are gaining demons, by the way. This is how you become demon possessed, and this is why it's also important who you lay down with, because who you lay down with is very much exposing you to spiritual darkness. But nonetheless,
This is what they're doing, using their bodies as portals, as demon-possessed people, having sex with each other, having group sex, engaging in pedophilia, engaging in what is gay sex. They are literally exchanging demons amongst each other. That's all they're doing, is defiling themselves. They're not gaining any spiritual power and authority. This is why the United States military has been defeated in the United States by an American citizen, proving and prosecuting them for engaging in what is targeting myself. I'm referring to myself, targeting me, and doing so where I have never had one day in any academy or in any military. I'm not drafted. I didn't ask for any training, and I did not ask for them to target me. And it's because they came for me, which is you coming for the Lord God himself, and you're never going to win that. And you can bend over and have as many sex rituals as you want. This is the U.S. military engaging in another ritual regarding my vagina. And this is speaking to the U.S. government that's a sex offender. It's a terrorist, and it's practically literally a stalker. And there's nothing noble or nothing superpower-ish about that. And that's the reality, the unfortunate reality about the United States of America that's engaging in this system. It's a system. It's not just Ontario, California. It's not just even Southern California. And it's not just the state of California. This is what's going on throughout these states. And that's what the P.O.C. showed you. That's the significance of you recognizing a fake sun over your head. All right. This is license 1500301. 7-Eleven is a gang stalker. This is the corporate entity that's engaging in the pattern of conduct. And Bird Tech, a very heavily documented gang stalker, is mimicking the same pattern of conduct of the city of Ontario. They're gang stalking. And this is a third party. The city of Ontario is a state actor. They're sharing in the criminal pattern of conduct while I'm at what is 9th Street in Euclid, and the fake sun is in alignment to me, while this entity is engaged in vagina monitoring, and that includes 9 Uncle Apple Bob 826, and this is speaking to the perversion of those that are both preparing your pancakes, hiding behind a corporate entity such as IHOP, and engaging in vagina monitoring. This is the entity that's engaging in criminal surveillance, and that is the humiliating truth regarding those that are also leading in this campaign for attacking American citizens, the United States military, that are enemies to the American people. They're not just attacking, quote unquote, people who we are told are enemies of our country, we are supposedly at war with, but the United States military, their job is, and their focus is, to actually attack American citizens that they deem to be a threat. And how are you a threat? Because you are not a part of a gay sex cult, because you would never conform to what Satan dictates, because you are, for example, a follower of Christ Jesus, because you're not demon possessed. That is, you are actually free, and you exercise independent thought, and you're not easily enslaved, and you can't be pressured into becoming a homosexual, etc., etc., etc. That's a threat, and that's what's so pathetic. What is not noble or high or honorable at all about the United States military, and I mean the entire United States military. Okay, the only exception is when a targeted individual like myself. The only reason why the United States military would let you into the military is so that they can sacrifice you. You're the type that when they go to quote unquote war, you're the one that died honorably out in the field, when actually you were sacrificed and they surrounded you and they took that person's life. Those are the only circumstances when you're led into the cult. Okay, this is an entity that's engaged in what is murder. Creative means of murder. And actually it's not creative, it's just malicious. Satan is not creative. He can't come up with anything. He can't even come up with his own ideas regarding how to engage in his own pattern of conduct, because he's never intellectualized it. He's not intellectual. He's a spirit. He's an obsessive stalking spirit. And so you're watching even demons copy off of me regarding how their pattern of conduct has been put in an intellectual framework in order to prosecute it in a court of law. They're even copying off of that, which they cannot do because they are not built like that at all. All right, they're nothing other than vagina monitoring minions. No brain power needed for that whatsoever. This is P.O.C. 7-Eleven is gang stalking under the fake sun, just like you see in the evening after 6 and 7 p.m. 7-Eleven is going to be federally prosecuted, and this is a company that's engaging in internationally criminal surveillance against American citizens and against those in other parts of the world. And 7-Eleven literally is like, it's a large company because it's so common, but honestly, it's a blip on the radar in my estimation, and 7-Eleven can be wiped off the map. But I'm going to prosecute it very thoroughly in the United States and make an example out of it, and the corporate entity itself is going to suffer with regard to monetary, but also criminal conduct prosecuting corporate entities for criminal conduct and prosecuting them civilly, which is something that already exists. But what is going to exist based on the government's pattern of conduct, based on what the U.S. military is doing, you're talking about prosecuting corporate entities for criminal activity. That's getting to that logo, that's getting to that company, that's getting to those that are leading in that company, which are leading in terrorism, and you're going to prosecute them for that. And that's also going to result in what is damages, money, okay? But it's about prosecuting, making sure you're attaching criminal activity, terrorism to that company name, which is going to destroy those corporate entities. License 9 Robert 0 Zebra 540, license 7 Yolanda Wendy Jerry 516. And it is currently, by the way, 7:32 a.m. The entity has the fake sun over me in Pomona, California. License plate 88891 Charlie 1. The entity has also, like I stated, the fake sun here, which would be 11 hours from now, 6HDL 646. And everybody purchasing gas, this is the federal RICO case, when everybody here is actually stalking. And this is the reality of the homosexual population. And they're all engaging in homosexuality. They're all engaging in forms of sexual perversion, which is this cult that is gang stalking, that is demon possessed. 9S Kelly Edward 889, 9 Edward Kelly Jerry 726, 7 Robert Mary Larry 483. And the school district, another gang stalking school district. That is Chaffee Joint Union High School District. All right, they're gang stalking. And this is license 6 Charlie Sam Nancy 103. And Apple 7060, that's a Washington plate. 9 Charlie Frank Kelly 106. And UniFirst and Frito-Lay are gang stalking using the trucks and Burtec as well. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:33 a.m. The audible activity is monitoring. This is massive monitoring, and this is all under 7-Eleven. And remember, 7-Eleven's engaged in poisoning. These employees are going to prison, and they're also going to prison for this impunity that I'm documenting. So everybody's engaging in what is teaming up. More and more people, and the employees are going to federal prison. All right, this is their prize, and this is justice while you're looking at those that are engaging in terrorism, and they're doing it to somebody that is coming here to prosecute any and everything, including the company. It is currently 7:34 a.m. 7-Eleven employees are indeed going to prison for poisoning me while they're gang stalking just like this under a fake sun. And this is what cult members of the U.S. military are engaging in and facilitating. And they're doing so as highly deceived minions of Satan who needed to be shown worldwide to be inferior to Christ Jesus. And that's because of who they serve, which is Satan, a created being. It is, let me get this license plate. Yeah, 88891 Charlie 1. 6 Kelly Frank Charlie 465 and 9 Victor Queen Sam 391. And the employees inside of 7-Eleven, they're going to prison. They're going to federal prison. So they're poisoning food that I purchase here, just like at Stater Brothers, they're going to prison. The entities engaged in a pattern of conduct, and your result is you're going to prison. You're engaging in all this. You're not accomplishing your objective. Everything about what you're doing is also being exposed, and you're going to federal prison. Okay? License plates, excuse me, it's 7:35 a.m. Currently 7:50 a.m. and license 53234 Frank 4. And again, this looks like another demon associated with the, let's see, yeah, military. These homosexuals that are these cult members, BVASQU, are stalking. And that's the military that's engaging in that. And they're doing so while they're sacrificing themselves. This is mentally ill behavior of demon-possessed people that engage in self-destructive patterns while they're being gang stalked. And this is because I'm discerning the fact that they're demons, and I'm just doing that through a prosecution, an ongoing investigation, documentation. And that's what's behind the idiocy behind, conspicuously stalking the person that is documenting it in order to prosecute you. That is literally the stalker admitting that they're stalking. And it is the U.S. military that are full of homosexuals that practice homosexuality with regard to demon possession. And they think that being demon possessed is going to cause them to win spiritually when they're psychologically torturing and stalking people. And it's not. You don't win over a child of God. But this is the entity that's engaging with a spiritual warfare, which they lost sorely. And it's embarrassing to the United States of America. It's embarrassing to the United States military that are likened to a cult full of homosexual people who are severely mentally ill. And they are stalking in Upland, California. And this is what I'm capturing. This is the fake sun. Right here, you piercing over the edge at 7:51 a.m., the time that I'm present looking at this sign. And this is relevant. This is what all I want to show you while the entity is engaging in this. And in the evening yesterday, as upon my exit at 7:01 p.m. at the same Upland Public Library, you're looking at what is the sun as I'm capturing at 7:02 p.m. Just so you can see, I have a water mark on the front of it so you can easily see the time, and this is also the official timestamp. And this is the same sign, my shadows that's appearing on it, while the fake sun is right here at the same location. This is where I'm at right now at 7 in the morning, 7:52 a.m. to be exact. And this is where the fake sun is still present. That's where the U.S. military is stalking. And down the street is where Marcelo Blanco, the entity, is stalking with under a fake sun at this is D Street. The next street is 9th Street. And the next street after that is 8th Street, where Marcelo Blanco is stalking me with the demons who are the people of the state. Demons that are stalking with impossible light across structures while they're stalking like 6 WTG 188. Demons that are engaged in the pattern of conduct shared by the U.S. military, whose job it is to attack American citizens. And they have been conquered. They've been defeated and they've been exposed. And I'm dragging them to embarrass them. They're homosexuals who are nothing other than cult members, and they're demon possessed, and they're being federally prosecuted for terrorism in the United States. And the United States president, the so-called commander-in-chief, is responsible for it and is aware of it. So is Gavin Newsom. So is down to the vagina monitor in Upland, California, Bill Velto. This is P.O.C. and this is the impossible that the sun would be over me at the same location, and it's prosecuting literally the entity that is the city of Upland. This is P.O.C. Yeah, this is Upland Police monitoring in concert with the people of the state, and they're flying right over the top of my head. If you'll recall, I'm at this intersection, the next intersection, which is 8th Street and Euclid, where the ARCO is, and the entity is engaging in the same conduct, stalking me, while this fake sun, which is over me at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, is still in alignment with me, which is over me while the people of the state are stalking, and so is Marcelo Blanco, engaging in what this is the U.S. military gang stalking through the puppets in Upland, California, who are going to federal prison. And that's the fake sun that's after 7 p.m. So that is to suggest that 4 hours from now, the fake sun's still going to be at 8th Street in Euclid, like I documented on video, where the entity, the city of Upland, which is the same entity as the city of Ontario, but the city of Upland is engaged in what is, first of all, stalking in this environment. Second of all, doing so pursuant to what is monitoring on my device, which is exactly what I was doing yesterday. Documenting the vagina monitors at 8th Street in Euclid, documenting the vagina monitors at what is 314 North Euclid Avenue. And I want to be clear, this is federal prison. This demon with the license plate Snarnell, S-N-A-R-N-E-L, engaging in what is gang stalking me, the people of the state, the gang members, engaging in the same criminal pattern of conduct, stalking by keeping your lights on in front of the venue that I'm documenting this morning. This will be in the Google Drive, because this demon at 314 North Euclid Avenue is stalking on the roads and the highways, and he's also engaged in what is stalking me by coming out of his facilitating venue and engaging in the elements of monitoring. So I document him. And as I document him stalking me again, I document that. This is becoming what is a serial stalker, under which you're going to federal prison under those circumstances. As I'm on my device, and these demons that are gang members engaging in the same conduct, parking in front of his house, doing so under the fake sun, as I'm capturing what is a screenshot, capturing his series of moments of stalking me. That's the same conduct, and that's the same third party that's engaging what is communicating a threat, repeatedly engaged in stalking, like Marcelo Blanco in helicopter. And Marcelo Blanco is doing so while I'm on my device documenting this third party. This is prison for the terrorists of the Upland Police Department. This is prison for the third party at 314 North Euclid Avenue. And those images, those screenshots are captured. This is relevant to what I'm doing on my device, while Upland Police have no warrant or probable cause. And there is no warrant or probable cause that exists for gang stalking with the people of the state. And that's why this fake sun is over me. And it's not, first of all, in Ontario, nor is it remaining over the Upland Public Library, which I documented upon my exit yesterday evening. This is the pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. This is federal prison, and these are the not so bright demons. Okay? This is the entity that's engaging in this lawlessness. They're fleeing like the cowards that they are. This is what they're doing concerning my vagina. That's what you all around the world need to understand. Marcelo Blanco's a vagina monitor. He's a sex offender. He's a psychopath. He engages in homosexuality and then engages in what is running in circles under things like a fake sun, and he calls that witchcraft in order to garner spiritual power to monitor somebody that is prosecuting him in the name of Jesus, which you cannot contend with. That's why he's such a loser, and he's being humiliated, and he's going to be humiliated in federal prison, because I'm not playing. And Darren Goodman, he's headed right behind him, gang stalking me in San Bernardino, engaging in gang stalking me in Upland, and kidnapping in 2022, and they're still at it in Upland, and those demons are going to prison. Those sex offenders are getting locked up where sex offenders belong. And you can have a good time running around people that enjoy having inmates like Marcelo Blanco and Darren Goodman in prison that like to violate women. You'll be welcome there. This is P.O.C. It is currently 3:03 p.m. And this is the evidence that Marcelo Blanco is targeting me in particular. In addition to the fact that I'm walking up this street this morning and this fake sun is over the same person that is documenting it.
All right, and that's relevant to the people of the state that are gang stalking at their facilitating venues, where their fellow co-defendants gang stalk me by parking in front of their venues with their lights on, which is stalking in the path, and that's a threat. And only idiots provide evidence to the federal government to prosecute them without any mystery. Only idiots do that. Those are the vagina monitoring demons. That's P.O.C. Alrighty, this is where UPS was gang stalking yesterday evening. All right, remember, the demon possessed, the mannerable demons that are putting up their middle finger while they're being documented as terrorists. That's going to be notable in federal court while you're aware of their true character and the threat that they are. And that's not knowledge for the rest of you around the world while you don't welcome terrorists in your country. This is P.O.C. It is currently 3:04 p.m. This is 7th Street and Euclid Avenue.
All right, this is in reference to the video evidence of Marcelo Blanco and the Upland, not the Ontario, the Upland Police Department, and specifically as I am carving out a prosecution regarding the totality of facts showing an overall pattern of conduct that is identical, especially as I go from city to city, county to county, including my evidence, which includes state to state. So Upland Police Department, in that regard, is sharing the pattern of conduct with the Ontario Police Department. But Ontario Police and Upland Police are the same entity. The United States government is gang stalking in California, and I am showing that while the Upland Police Department are targeting me in the specific environment, which is a supernatural phenomenon that is over my head, while the Upland Police, that is Marcelo Blanco, is gang stalking me by virtue of the Upland Police Department engaging in that pattern of conduct using helicopters while the fake sun is under me. Is above me, and I am also in operation of my device, which is particularly triggering to the terrorists who are hostile to being documented. Okay, they are absolutely psychotic, and these are the enemies of the United States that are hostile to you enforcing your rights. That's what that goes to. That are engaging in what are acts of violence while you enforce your rights, as though any nation is not going to defend themselves against terrorists. These domestic terrorists are those that engage in acts of violence while you document the fact that they are engaging in terrorism. As an American citizen that's being targeted by domestic terrorists who are exploiting the Constitution so that they appear only on the surface as constituents of the state, and they are not. They are domestic terrorists. That is distinct from being what are private citizens protected under the Constitution. They are the public entity gang stalking with the government, and the pattern of conduct shows that. All right, so I recited the license plate of this third party that is gang stalking me with a co-defendant that engages in what is threatening me. So it's essentially, I document a third party. They're hostile. You're gang stalking by coming out of your home while the fake sun is moving over your facilitating venue, which is their home. It's a facilitating venue. Under the law, you are gang stalking. That is the public entity, not a private residence, and I'm going to prosecute you. The entity's engaging in this while I'm walking north in Upland, California at what is 1340 North Euclid Avenue. The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct where, let me go ahead and get at what is 4:49 p.m. Ontario Village Shopping Center is gang stalking with the City of Ontario. And then you're just mindful of this when I'm here at 7 in the morning and they're doing the same thing. Every commercial airline company that is stalking and being prosecuted under federal RICO. And they're also going to be prosecuted under what is legislation that I propose because the existing laws are inadequate. These are companies that are engaging in criminal activity. And the RICO does address criminal activity, but this is domestic terrorism, and that needs to be squarely addressed in the federal prosecution of the United States government and the people of the state. Nonetheless, this is the entity that's admittedly stalking. They don't have any strategy. They don't have a way to cover up what they're doing. They don't have a way to stop because they're also mentally ill. So their violent impulses are shown in HD while I trigger the demons that are gang stalking me and proving the case that I asserted from the outset. Anyway, the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct, and they're doing so while I take a picture. I document, that is, the entity that is gang stalking by walking out of the facilitating venue. It's already enough that you're gang stalking by virtue of being in your home, which is a facilitating venue. They're already being prosecuted as a city. The city of Upland is engaging in terrorism while a fake sun remains over me through the neighborhood. Everybody in the neighborhood is gang stalking. Everybody on the roads and highways are gang stalking. So the entity is engaging in what is affirmatively acting in furtherance of the conspiracy to murder you by coming out.
touching his vehicles, operating his vehicle, opening the trunk. They're slapping me with impossible light here. This third party at 1340 North Euclid Avenue is opening and closing the doors on his vehicle to engage in activity creation, audible activity, doing so under the fake sun, monitoring me, and also in unlawfully threatening my life and safety and well-being, because all of the pattern of conduct is psychologically harmful. And the entity, the U.S. government, the people of the state are going to be federally prosecuted for psychological torture while they're gang stalking you. The entity's engaging in this by walking out of the facilitating venue that is 1340. Excuse me. It is not 1340. It is 314 North Euclid Avenue. Okay, 314 North Euclid Avenue, and walking out of the facilitating venue where you remain, where you are already engaging in what is domestic terrorism and psychological torture by virtue of place of residence in the specific environment, where the U.S. government is maintaining criminal surveillance to the people of the state throughout that entire city. You are affirmatively engaging in that, and this is what I document. It's on the record already. And then I documented this third party located at 314 North Euclid Avenue, gang stalking me on the roads and the highways, and he's even staring at me directly. Now, I already know, and I've already proven through the evidence, that the entity is targeting. I mean, when you're targeting, that means that you are stalking intentionally, knowingly. There's Erica. I'm going to stalk her and drive by her. That's what targeting is. So they're not, in other words, driving by and they don't know that you're there and they don't know nothing about you. And they also, and how are you getting that? Because the entity is stalking you with impossible light activity. They are not engaging in that egregious, sexually violent, and satanic act pursuant to monitoring you, and they're doing so, and none of them know that. Okay, this is the entity of the mentally ill, the army of demons, the ongoing living dead that are keeping us under surveillance, and they are fully aware of it. Okay, the entity's engaging in this while they are fully apprised of it, including where they reside. The entity's engaging in this pattern of conduct and doing so on the roads and the highways, and this demon is even staring at me while he is crossing paths, very hostile regarding. Remember, as I document the demons, they're angry. I don't care. I laugh at it. And in which case they become more angry. And then you'll see the light slinging around, like license 24255 Larry 4 going into Standard Barber, who's already a documented terrorist. Going to the smoke shop, going anywhere that you can go anywhere. The entire Ontario Village Shopping Center is being federally prosecuted, all right, for hosting the P.O.C. while I'm here. But the entity is nonetheless engaging in what is acts of violence, acts of aggression, while the mentally ill are stalking with light. That's mentally ill behavior. They are wearing their mental illness on their forehead while they stalk you with light. Okay, this is the entity that's putting itself in danger of being committed while they stalk you with light. But the entity's engaging in this nonetheless, and as I'm documenting this demon at 314 North Euclid Avenue, he is again on another day stalking me on the roads and the highways on Euclid Avenue, feet away from his home. Okay, so he's doing so under the fake sun, very much consumed with stalking me, and I document that license plate on the roads and the highways. And this morning while I'm walking by, I take a screenshot of he has two vehicles, and as I'm documenting the license plate and the facilitating venue, this is what I take a screenshot of. And the correct address again is 314 North Euclid Avenue. And the license plates of this terrorist are license SALNLAR, because in the video it is substantially similar, but it is not entirely accurate. So I want to make sure that I correctly identify this terrorist who is going to be subject to federal prison for gang stalking me, and then the entity stalking me by murderers and kidnappers of the United States military and the Upland Police Department using helicopters, because I am documenting him on my device, which the entity has no basis under the law to keep under surveillance. Also, to keep it under surveillance in order to murder me, tracking my steps, stalking me obsessively, monitoring everything that I look at and consume on the internet, and doing so while they are interfering with a federal case regarding the documentation that I capture in this ongoing case. And that's what's informing what Marcelo Blanco. That's what's happening. Marcelo Blanco is being documented as a terrorist while I am subject to stalking by helicopters in the city of Upland under a fake sun. And you can look at the timestamp of where I'm capturing the screenshot of this demon at 314 North Euclid Avenue and his license plates and the time that the entity is flying over my head, crossing path while the fake sun is over me. And this is seconds apart. This is the entity that is indeed engaging in surveillance on my devices. And there, by the way, does not exist any warrant or probable cause under the law to engage in gang stalking, to engage in terrorism by helicopter, to engage in and practice psychological torture by planes and helicopters, like the city of Upland, like Marcelo Blanco, like the Upland Police Department is doing. So I just be clear, a warrant of probable cause is also not a remedy. They are not engaging in an investigation or a search. They're engaging in surveillance pursuant to psychological torture preceding murder. They are not engaging in what is any investigation of a crime committed. They are in the commission of a crime. Okay, but it is relevant. They're engaged in what is an unlawful search of our devices. They're keeping us under surveillance, and these are the ways in which I'm stating current law does not adequately address the egregious and criminal acts intended and committed by the public entity that is keeping us under surveillance, that is engaging in what is the demonic system of federal group stalking and monitoring. And this is again in reference to what is SIIS, systematic infliction of inhumane suffering, which is federal legislation that I advocate. All right, this is P.O.C. One second, let me get this sex offender. Alrighty. You'll see the fake sun reflecting off of the driver's side window. He is engaging in what is terrorizing, stalking, and harassing with impossible light while he does so on behalf of a government against someone that he intends to murder while he is gang stalking that woman. All right, and as you can see here through the analysis, this is going to have a direct impact on custody of children, on access to those that are vulnerable, while the entity is gang stalking in the ways in which that it is. Coming out of the smoke shop, again, this is the entity that's engaging in that, and while they are engaging in what are psychotic things such as stalking with impossible light, this is what they do while the demon-possessed derive pleasure out of torturing, stalking, harassing, and abusing the targeted individual. And so these are, again, psychopaths that are demon possessed. That's what's wrong with those personality defects, with the terms that we use regarding mental illness and types of dysfunction, personality dysfunctions. It's because they're demon possessed. It's a spirit, which is not a defense in court. This is giving you context because this is spiritual warfare. And there is a way also, a facet regarding victory in this spiritual war, that the demon possessed were never going to win against Christ Jesus. And it's the Lord God giving me a federal victory in a courtroom against the demon possessed, where the dead are being brought and dragged in court and with tangible evidence regarding their supernatural, i.e. mentally ill, demonic pattern of conduct. That's quite an epic victory that the Lord God has provided with regard to making sure that it is an unmistakable God-given victory over Satan, who is engaging what is stalking with light. Okay, that's terrorism in the United States, and it's pursuant to monitoring, and monitoring is only occurring by the government, and the government is monitoring you in furtherance of murdering and kidnapping you, okay, while they are unlawfully stalking you in doing so. All right, so I do want to be clear. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, and they are doing so pursuant to what is, back to the evidence. I just needed to document that terrorist really quick. The entity is stalking me by helicopter in Neptune, California, doing so as I'm documenting a third party that is terrorizing me in concert with a third party co-defendant. All right, the entity is doing so by stalking, doing so parking in front of the same defendant's house, doing so stalking with light. And this is, again, the entity that is obviously gang stalking is one that is communicating a threat. And these are mentally ill, intellectually impotent. You're not threatening me. You're admitting to me. You're admitting to the federal government that you're engaged in criminal monitoring, that you're a terrorist. And terrorists belong in prison. This is what the entity is doing, though. This is what they're doing. This is the epic backfire of what Satan thought in the first place, that being homosexuals and stalking obsessively is going to result in some sort of magnificent victory for Satan, and that was never going to happen. And as ridiculous as it sounds, that shows you how mentally ill and depraved the entity is. Okay, but nonetheless, this is the corruption that's going on in the United States of America, and they are the demon possessed. They are the living dead. Okay, they are engaging in this pattern of conduct with the people of the state who are engaged in un-American criminal activity on a ceaseless basis everywhere and at all times, especially where they live, especially where you live, where the demon possessed surround you. They're your neighbors. They're the government that's flying all around you, stalking you, maintaining aerial surveillance, flying over by planes and helicopters, conspicuously and inconspicuously. They're doing so while the entity keeps a fake sun over you, where you travel to and where you dwell, where you remain, including if that's outside, because that's how important you are, contrary to what Satan wants you to believe, that you are a nobody and you're nothing and nobody would ever engage in stalking you in the first place. That's a lie out of hell. Satan is worshiping your genitalia. Satan is a pervert and a sex offender and is enamored with everything about you, monitoring your thoughts, monitoring your likes and dislikes, monitoring your reactions to what the demons that are monitoring you are doing and saying all around you. That's how important you are. Satan is studying you. Okay, so this is speaking to the importance and how much you are loved by Christ Jesus. And that's what you're getting from that. That's what you extract from that information, which is factual. Okay, the entities engaging in this criminal activity, and so with regard to this demon at 314 North Euclid Avenue, as I am documenting, I am subject to what is a form of retaliation. Being at that facilitating venue while the fake sun is over me, and I'm approaching and I'm looking at a predator, I'm looking at a terrorist, I'm looking at a stalker, I'm looking at a co-defendant of the government that's engaging in what is a pattern of kidnapping and criminal defamation, and doing so in furtherance of murdering me. This is a threat while stalking with light in front of 314 North Euclid Avenue, the facilitating venue, the entity that I documented, okay, this morning. And as I captured this demon's license plate, that is where the entity is engaging what is stalking me by helicopter, which is, again, now you're talking about federal prison immediately, okay? And this demon's license plate that is gang stalking in front of 314 North Euclid Avenue are not the two license plates that are parked remaining at the venue. It is license plate 9 Thomas Paul Mary 346, which may or may not even be someone that the entity, that the two third parties know. This could be a homosexual, a part of the Marine Corps. The entity is engaging in what is seeking to psychologically torture you and trigger you while they are engaging in the pattern of conduct with knowledge that you're documenting them. The entity is, by the way, fully apprised of everyone because the illusion of strangers is very real in order to keep you ignorant and oblivious to the fact of surveillance. So in reality, this is a third party that's aware of what I documented and is engaging in the pattern of conduct, doing so on behalf of the demon that resides at 314 North Euclid Avenue. It is equally criminal conduct attributed to the demon that resides at 314 North Euclid Avenue. And the entity is not coincidentally doing so while I am documenting the fact that that third party is a serial stalker, documenting him stalking me on more than one occasion, including at the place of residence where he resides, which is the specific environment, doing so on behalf of the government that then flies over my head by helicopter as I'm capturing that evidence. And again, the relevant parties regarding prison includes 9 Thomas Paul Mary 346 gang stalking me, stalking with light, communicating a threat, psychologically torturing me, and harassing me with regard to retaliatory methods while I'm documenting the people of the state at 314 North Euclid Avenue with a license plate SAL, let me do it this way, Samuel Apple Larry Nancy Larry Apple Robert Salinlar, something like that, SALNLAR. And the other vehicle is Samuel Apple Larry Apple Robert Yolanda Salary. Okay, these are the license plates that are parked at the venue at 314 North Euclid Avenue. And gang stalking me in concert with the third party that parks in front of their venue to engage in what is an iteration of psychological torture and threatening retaliatory conduct after this entity is documented gang stalking me. And then the entities engage in what is further retaliation gang stalking me by MARCELO BLANCO of the Upland Police Department. This is P.O.C.
This is the gang violence in the name of the Ontario Non-Police Department. Chaffee Joint Union High School is a gang stalker. And Chaffee also has demonic roots, just as relevant context. And their parents are demons as well. While the teenagers are monitors over me, while the people of the state are engaged in criminal activity, terrorism, federal stalking, federal offenses underway with minor children, stalking in the path with their devices, pacing. You need to understand that they come out of the womb. They come out of the demonic portals of their demon-possessed parents. Demons. They come out dead. And they are engaging in the deeds of the dead. That's all. Amplified audible activity, fake sun, crossing path, crossing path, crossing path, crossing path, crossing path. Michael Lorenz is being removed. Not just for gang stalking me and me embarrassing him by prosecuting him, like a competent law enforcement agency would know how to do, but because he's engaged in vagina monitoring with the likes of those that are under 18. Those that are engaging, by the way, in gang stalking, which is an exceedingly violent sex offense, that's the same population that engages in sexual activity with minors. They commit sex acts of violence with them. They have sex with them as well. Okay, and you're looking at what is the ongoing contribution to the delinquency of minors that are engaged in what is sexual violence before 18. And this is reflective of the bright future of the demon possessed. Their bright future. Do you see it? Prison is on. This is P.O.C. This is 4th Street.
The fake sun is over me at this very venue in the morning. And Chafee Joint Union High School has a history of stalking me on the roads and the highways. Demons operating those buses. Demons that are stalking with impossible light. And that's again a high school, a school that's engaged in contributing to the delinquency of minors. They are a threat to them while they're engaged in criminal activity with them, and by virtue of their presence on the bus, and they are engaging in what is that criminal activity and furtherance of murder with kids. And the children, the little demons, they understand that. This is how Satan raises his children. Okay, so this is the pattern of conduct, and they're being federally prosecuted. These are demons that understand very well what they're doing, and at this level, they will be prosecuted as terrorists. This is P.O.C. It is currently 3:29 p.m. These are the sex offenders, the vagina monitors that give birth to the dead, and this is what you need to know about what's going on in the United States, because it's going on throughout the country in North America, but it's also going on around the globe. Satan is not limited to the jurisdiction of the U.S. The dead, which is a real thing, this is what you're learning about while you're also witnessing a federal prosecution by the U.S. government that's engaging in terrorism. In your country, wherever you are, the United States is a foreign terrorist. Where I am, the United States is a domestic terrorist. And this is based on what is demon possession. This is an entity that's engaged in massive public corruption, and they're all demons. They're all dead. Maintaining what is an illusion regarding American society as we know it. Moreover, what you're understanding and what you must take away from this is that the demon possessed are born in this condition. This is generational curses. So these people are born to die. These are people that never intend to come to Christ. They're also people that attend church every week. They do speak the name of Jesus. Their children are demons. They're monitoring you unbeknownst to you. They're preaching the word of God to you, not 100% with validity and with authenticity, not truthfully, but they are holding the Bible and they are preaching the word and they're doing their pious act while they're demons, and they hate the name of Christ. These are demons that are engaged in criminal activity. This is the city of Ontario. This is representative of the state of California. Every single last one, including the demons that they give birth to. They're all dead. This is the living dead, and they've been engaged in monitoring us for a very long time, and you need to be aware of that. This is P.O.C. You see how the fake sun remains over me while they're moving? The dead are monitoring us. They're monitoring us because they know that they're dead, their time is up, and they cannot steal anything from a child of God. Their fate is death, and it remains their fate. This is P.O.C. It is currently 3:31 p.m. Alrighty, you are seeing the same pattern of conduct. First of all, there's no airport over here. This is Southwest Airlines that's stalking when I'm at 1444 North Euclid Avenue. And this is the people that say it's stalking while the fake sun is over me. 9XHX112 in engineer light. So the plane activity that you hear, all right, and the engineer light, the people that stay driving by, it's called crossing paths. That's the significance of this impossible light activity. That is not the product of being under the sun, which is how you know Southwest Airlines is specifically targeting me, in addition to the fact that Southwest Airlines doesn't have any flights to any destination, such as, Sacramento or something, where they're hovering even more west from what they're doing all night long at the Ontario Town Square. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and the evidence, the scientific evidence, is the fake sun at what is 3:55 p.m. And this is also relevant because you'll see Marcelo Blanco that is stalking me. Even while they're flying away, even when they're flying at a distance, what do you see right over me? This is how you know. This is what LAPD were doing while the fake sun remained over me from morning until evening while they're flying circles around the perimeter of the apartment complex. You know that they're targeting me because the fake sun remained over my apartment, remained over my office, remained through my living room window into my bedroom window, which is the east and west side respectively, until sunrise until sunset. And that's also how you know. And this is also how you know. Where you see this ever, surveillance is underway because this is never ever happening. This is not sunlight. This is not sunlight. And then you're breaking down my evidence because this isn't even the sun. It's the light object where you know the government's engaging in surveillance. And the government's made up of demon-possessed people. Demon-possessed people that are, by the way, flying Southwest Airlines planes. I hope that you're paying attention here. The entity's engaged in this while it's also mindful. The entity has, in other words, stalking me, following me to the destination where I'm going. They're stalking me while I'm going to a particular destination, 9TUJ331. Okay? You're talking about one vehicle after another while they are, as an entity, stalking me where I'm going. That particular vagina monitor is not the one that's going to remain behind me, okay, and following me. But they are literally following what the fake sun and the government, like Southwest Airlines, is showing. is engaging in what is the pattern of conduct. Any harm that's occurring at these venues, they're going to federal prison. So they will be going from the pulpit to federal prison, and I am not joking. That is a very real consequence, and I'm documenting the entity that thinks that they're going to poison somebody. I'm literally maintaining airwaves on a moment-by-moment basis regarding any and all things regarding what you're doing. First of all, you're gang stalking, and you are literally engaging in what is criminal activity before the world, the feds. And this is the entity that is, again, stalking me. This is crossing paths, so they're maintaining activity, stalking me. That's the purpose of it. 8JOE446. When you're engaged in this, when this government is threatening you like this is what you're documenting. Because anything that's happening is committed by that entity. Okay? License 7LMU990, stalking. That's the significance of being parked. They're tracking my steps. They already knew that I was here. You know that by Southwest Airlines. You know that by the fake sun. Okay, they are stalking you, and you're documenting the entity that is engaging in what is any manner of what is harming you. Okay, so we're not making any accusations. I don't jump before the wagon. I let the entity act, and then I document it, which is simultaneously crossing. It's currently 3:58 p.m. I just want to go ahead and document these wonderful Christians that are located at 325 West B Street, B as in boy, where I'm subject to what is assault with a deadly weapon, where I'm subject to terrorism by the City of Ontario International Airport, and also gang stalking by the Ontario Police Department, and the people of the state that are stalking the entire route to and from this church. Okay. This is an entity that's engaging in what is monitoring and is aware of where it is that I am going. And on the day that I am going to eat with the church that's providing free meals, this is the date. It's not a coincidence. I'll show you the fake sun. The entity that's engaging in what is targeting. These are the ways in which targeting occurs as well. Okay. I just want to be clear. This church, The Rock, and who have no actual, real, true, genuine relationship with the Rock himself, Christ Jesus, and the way in which they're targeting an American citizen is the evidence of it. This is the fake sun. While you see a cross sitting on the top of that building, this is a facilitated venue at 325 West B Street. This is where I was subject to what is assault with a deadly weapon at 5 o'clock in the morning while this population is stalking. And the population includes Rock of Faith. That is targeting while they're not serving food today on the day that I am returning after a prolonged absence, because I documented the ongoing gang stalking throughout the rest of the city, such as Fontana, such as Pomona, California, San Bernardino even. And that's relevant documentation regarding what the Rock Church is engaging in while they are even not serving the food. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. Southwest Airlines stalking, targeting. The people of the state stalking, targeting. Not serving food on the day that I'm coming to eat, targeting. I just want you to see, these are not genuine believers. The demon-possessed do congregate. It's a religious spirit. They're demon-possessed, and they are full of hatred. Okay? This is the entity that's engaged in. This is not bitterness. This is, I'm going to be perfectly fun. I'm documenting because you need to know. They are amongst us. And the Lord God is going to separate the wheat from the tares. And also scripture says that you will know them, and you will know them by their deeds. Okay? The entity that is hostile because they're being documented, this is hostility. And the entity that's hostile because they're being documented are the ones that are going straight to hell. That's the same spirit. License 1675930, vehicle 1136 at 325 West B Street. Yes, indeed, they are demons. This is the pattern of conduct. You know that the entity is a gang stalking with the Ontario Police. Targeting. That's exactly what this is. This is the P.O.C. You have a bunch of fake Christians, as I document them day in and day out, all the fake churches that I'm going to, churches that don't know Christ Jesus, churches that make money off of the name of Christ Jesus, churches that are exploiting those that don't even have salvation. They're literally gang stalking me in the building. And this is indeed targeting. This is P.O.C. It is currently 4:02 p.m. This is relevant to the malice. This is relevant to the cruelty. This is relevant to the inhumanity. This is an entity that's not interested in clothing the naked, providing shelter to the homeless, feeding the hungry. No, they are not. They're demons. And this is the P.O.C. It is currently 4:02 p.m. Alrighty, license 9 David Charlie Apple 677 is stalking with the smoke shop at 628 E as in Edward, doing so with impossible light activity. This is a vagina monitor, a minion that's stalking with Union Pacific as well, and waiting until I put my back to it for it to open and close its door and molest. This is an overweight minion that is obsessed with my vagina, and that's why they're engaging what is that conduct of stalking with impossible light activity. I just want to go ahead and get an image of that. And the fake sun is literally sitting on the roof right here. Okay, that's going to be commitment. While they're stalking with light, they're going to be committed with that. This is the P.O.C. The smoke shop is also gang stalking. The smoke shop is here. Remember, opening at 9 and 10 in the morning. The fake sun's over me. She's targeting with her customers that are demons and furtherance of murder together, and that's a federal RICO case. And I suspect that this may very well be a candidate for deportation, including her family member that also engages in gang stalking by working at the store in the morning as well. They're doing so with Amazon, who's again seeking out attention. This is the desperation of the demon possessed. Amazon is just sitting out in the open, literally looking for attention. Oh, me, document me in an obvious manner. It's pathetic. I've already prosecuted Mr. Bezos. The entities engaged in this pattern of conduct under the 4 p.m. fake sun that's here at the Ontario Village Shopping Center at 4:14 p.m. What you'll pay attention to is the stalking conduct by Amazon, not only present under the fake sun, but also in alignment to where I typically sit to use the Wi-Fi. This is relevant to targeting, just like the overweight homosexual female that is molesting my body in an act of desperation, wanting to touch me while she's stalking as a demon-possessed person, the same population that gives birth to demons who are monitoring us. Okay, P.O.C. It is currently 4:14 p.m. This is the entity that's engaging what is keeping the fake sun over the King's Inc., over the Emil Gabriel Dental Office at 628 C as in Charlie, and King's Inc. at 628 D as in David, and the smoke shop at 628 E as in Edward. This is where the entity is gang stalking at 10:30 in the morning during Pacific Standard Time, and the Ontario police that were stalking at the Rock Fake Church at 325 West B Street, where they're not serving food when the targeted individual goes to eat. The targeted individual is going to prosecute that federal RICO case of a fake church that's engaging in what is terrorism. So this is I don't have to get revenge, and I don't have to be bitter. This is an entity that's engaging what is the conduct that they want me to care about. And do you understand that a prosecutor cares about prosecuting? This is an entity that's, again, very overly emotional and irrational and delusional. But nonetheless, they keep giving over heaping spoonfuls of evidence, and like a diligent prosecutor, I'm taking it. The entity's in the parking lot and doing so. Amazon Prime handing over, a lot of money while they're gang stalking. This is the basis to prosecute any business, while the government uses corporate entities to keep you under surveillance, to psychologically torture you, and ultimately murder and kidnap you. And Amazon Prime is doing it while they're witnessing the evidence of them terrorizing American citizens. They're keeping that under surveillance, and then that further motivates them to engage in more of it, while that a mentally ill entity engages in what is using a business that is a business that shall exist no more. Okay, nobody is too big. Not Amazon, not Walmart, not McDonald's, none of them. Okay, terrorism supersedes any and all and everything. Terrorism against American citizens, and this is the entity that's engaging in that unlawful threat to American citizens. But I want to document that because while one demon is molesting with impossible light, they are all gang stalking together, and it is 4:16 p.m. where the entity is maintaining a fake sun over the same location where I'm coming every morning, where the entity is engaged in that ongoing stalking by planes. All right, they're stalking by plane, one plane after another, after another. I literally just got through publishing today regarding April 3rd, 2026. So you can remind yourself, look at March 22nd, 2026. Every day that I come here, the entity is engaging with a stalking at an airport. And the reason why it's so imprudent to do that when you're being prosecuted is because everyone will look back on that evidence and there's no question about what it is that you're doing, which is also clearly a means of what is harassing someone. But this is unprecedented harassment because it's all state action. And this is what homosexual men and women of the military are engaging in and facilitating amongst demons that live in this country. While the entity is spreading the spirit of Satan through what are perverted sex acts with each other and with animals and with children, they're engaging in what is this demonic system of gang stalking, which is criminal monitoring, which is occurring on your communication devices. And that's how a sex cult is engaging in what is gang stalking in the United States of America, and it's all starting with the United States military, and you cannot make that up. It wouldn't have been believed other than putting it within the pattern of conduct, the P.O.C. All right, but this is literally how what is relevant regarding David Quinones being federally prosecuted under the fake sun at 4 p.m. And so what is over me, sir, at the store where you are pacing around and using the store alarm and all manner of harassment while I'm inside of the bathroom and my vagina is exposed and that fake sun is shining on me, even under the covered structure of that store at 6 and 7 in the morning. That is something that he cannot answer to. Neither can Stater Brothers. But again, the entity is going to be federally prosecuted for that. While the entity thinks that they accomplished something, that's because they're mentally ill by touching me with impossible light under a fake sun, where you are admittedly engaging in what is serious federal offenses regarding terrorism in the United States. This is P.O.C. It is currently 4:18 p.m. Alrighty, more indication of Amazon Prime specifically targeting me in furtherance of murder, which has been the case for years, including at the same Ontario Village shopping center. This is the fake sun right here over me, and Amazon Prime is flying higher than the fake sun, sitting right here on the edge of the building. Amazon Prime is doing so with regard to what is my documentation, and also monitoring my body, which is the inhumane criminal conduct that Amazon Prime is engaging in, while also facilitating that inhumanity, that cruelty, and that criminal conduct in furtherance of murdering me with the people, including 9 VOX 770, and the entities engaged in this. While this is not sunlight, and it is not the product of driving under the sun, these are demons that are monitoring. All right, and they're pacing while you're aware of the fake, and they do so with their demon-possessed children, which is informing you about the threat that the demon-possessed pose as family units. They're not actually families, and they don't even actually care about each other. They use the outer cloak, the illusion of having families, having relationships, even having children, to engage in manipulating the masses. And also while they're engaging with federal group stalking and monitoring, such as minor children, gang stalking, adults at that. This is P.O.C., the Ontario Village Shopping Center, where Amazon Prime is gang stalking me, flying over the El Pollo Loco, where Lupe is gang stalking while on the job. That's the RICO case against Stater Brothers and the Ontario Village Shopping Center. And this is in the morning, where Amazon Prime is again clearly targeting, and the demons that operate that company are showing their mental illness and the threat that Amazon is to the public, because they're acting like they're landing by flying over El Pollo Loco. And you're looking at Amazon Prime that's very, just like you see the sun cozy over here next to me, Amazon Prime, as you see them flying, stalking, are doing so cozy over here, flying higher than the fake sun is. This is P.O.C., and they're doing so at what is 4:24 in the morning. Amazon Prime is gang stalking by commercial plane at the same venue during the 7 a.m. hour. This is P.O.C. I'll connect those videos. This is P.O.C. This is the Ontario Village Shopping Center. Alrighty, this is the entity that is engaging in that. Amazon Prime is gang stalking very clearly on with regard to the fake sun documentation. Wherever I'm located on the building, around the building, that's where Amazon Prime is stalking, and I'll connect another video as an example. That's Southwest Airlines. That is flying higher than the fake sun and is acting in sync with the demons. That, again, this is going to be defunded, and the terrorists are going to be, again, treated with martial law, and also they are going to be federally prosecuted as terrorists. This is what they're doing, and they're supposed to be secretly underway, and it's supposed to be some elite operation, and it's not. So now they're doing it in front of everyone, and they're showing their mental illness while they're poorly conducting themselves like nothing is happening. Clearly something is happening, and it's called the federal prosecution of the U.S. government. And I want to be clear, the mentally ill and those non-elite homosexuals of the U.S. military are the one that conjured up this plan, this highly unintelligent plan, okay, where even fifth graders are smarter than the United States military that are stalking you, keeping you under surveillance under a fake sun, which everyone can look up in the sky and know that you are under surveillance, which is the point of the P.O.C. Christ Jesus wants you to know what Satan is doing and wants you to prepare, because his coming is imminent. And the impotent, the intellectually impotent, are those inferior, those who Christ has already defeated. They are nothing to fear. That's the point of this. They're literally engaging what is a banner, providing advertisement about how awesome I am while they're stalking me, and they're going to pay me for stalking me. They're going to prison for stalking me. That's how inferior Satan is. This is P.O.C. It is currently 4:25 p.m. at the Ontario Village Shopping Center. Alrighty, and just to be clear, everybody that is indeed stalking in the grocery store, I take their pictures. They're down the aisles. They're acting like they're holding meetings, and they're talking, and they're studying what type of bread they want to buy. All they're doing is stalking. That's what the mentally ill do. They're mentally ill. They are demon-possessed. They are dead. And they are here only to monitor you and I. P.O.C.
Sexual assault and battery, the Latina female you see in the video, who goes into Standard Barber, 9 Apple Bob Robert 776. They're all coming out of the venues, gang stalking, and getting in their vehicles while the entity is stalking with planes simultaneously. And they're targeting what it is that I'm uploading online. They're monitoring. They're engaged in federal stalking. These are all federal cases. License 9 Henry Frank Uncle 953. This is a male who gets in the Jeep that you'll see in the video that I just captured. It's currently 4:34 p.m. And they're monitoring with the same City of Ontario that is stalking at the venue, flying higher than the fake sun that's sitting at the edge of the building where I'm present in the morning, where Kings Inc. is coming outside, gang stalking. They are capable of being identified on Instagram, but the feds know who they are. But literally their identity are on Instagram, where they are including their business into, meaning you're talking to a customer about a raggedy tattoo, and that is stalking in the path while these demons are molesting with light, and the entity is stalking with airport. That's how they are including their so-called business. That's not going to, it's going to be the basis for a massive federal RICO, and they don't even make enough money to be prosecuted under that. But I'm going to prosecute them as a matter of principle. And the entities engaged in this, 6XAM823, been engaged in prolonged surveillance, stalking since the last African-American female that engaged in sexual assault and battery. She immediately replaced her, and she's been sitting here since. It is currently 4:35 p.m. This is the entity that is monitoring what I'm uploading online on YouTube, where you don't have any privacy using your devices, where YouTube is also engaged in surveillance, where you are under surveillance by the entity. YouTube is also engaged in surveillance, or whatever platform, whatever website, wherever it is that you are, you don't have privacy on the internet. Okay? This is P.O.C. It's currently 4:35 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of the entity. That is UPS, that they typically like to use because UPS isn't assigned a specific gate. UPS is going to be prosecuted. It's not your prosecution as stalking in a plane, regardless of what gate, regardless of what airline. These are the intellectually impotent that need to be locked down 23 hours a day. I kid you not. But UPS is doing cartwheels. License 9MCU915 is gang stalking with UPS.
Okay, I want to. Mike LORENZ is going to prison. That's where it goes. I want you to see the very mentally ill demon that's back here stalking with light. He opens the door to engage in terrorism with impossible light activity while the Ontario police fly over. And if he's an immigrant, you're going to deport them. He's a psychopath holding back a smile. They're going to be committed, and they're going to federal prison. This is federal prison under the fake sun with the Ontario Police Department. And while he's opening and closing these doors, substantial impossible light swipes across here, which is psychological torture. This is the mentally ill. Bad acne, also mentally ill and engaging in what is gang stalking and furtherance of murdering a woman. Okay? This is P.O.C. driving up in a white van, engaging in surveillance, waiting for the Ontario police to fly over. That's why Mike LORENZ is being federally prosecuted. They're doing the exact same thing at 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning while the fake sun is over me. Fake sun is over me also at the same venue where I'm at in the morning, where the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking. This is indeed somebody that's targeting, and this is what the Ontario Police Department have the people of the state doing with that agency. Mike LORENZ is going to prison. Okay? Jay Hernandez is gang stalking at Superior Grocery. He's going to federal prison. Jay Montez is gang stalking at Beautiful Smiles on B Street, is going to federal prison. L. Edwards, that's engaging in what is gang stalking outside of the Ovid Family Community Library and kidnapping at the Ovid Family, kidnapping at Starbucks, is going to federal prison. Craig Hazelwood and Owens, kidnapping on more than one occasion, they're going to federal prison. When I go to the Ontario Police Department after they commit kidnapping and I document those demons like Ticho and Jason, that engaged in kidnapping in 2020, they're going to prison. That's the long and short of it. They're going to federal prison. David Quinones inside of the Stater Brothers that's in here, where they're poisoning my food, where they are stalking me in the grocery store. David Quinones and the employees like Amber and Isaiah are going to federal prison. All right? And that's how you're going to get the co-defendants that are stalking together, the mentally ill under the fake sun. And this is the ignorance of Mike LORENZ, who's a vagina monitor, the demon-possessed U.S. military that are putting the people of the state where they belong in prison right along with them, where they can get the mental assistance in order to neutralize the threat that the demon-possessed pose. All right? I just want to be clear. This is tying all that together because Stater Brothers is gang stalking me and poisoning my food on behalf of the demons of the city of Ontario, the U.S. government. And you're going to prison for that. And there's no mystery about who you're doing it with. All right? Stater Brothers is not a grocery store. They're a bunch of demons pacing. Psychopaths that have light flying about while they're monitoring you. And they're also monitoring your children's genitalia. They give birth to people who are demon possessed. Their children are sex offenders. Their children are engaging in terrorism with the U.S. government. That's what the demon possessed are. And that was a psychopath that is holding back. Like, there's nothing funny about being a demon and about engaging in criminal activity. You need to understand that impulse to laugh, that's the demon in him. Okay? They're going to be committed.
These are demons that engage in what is committing murder, trying to get the blood off of their hands and then laughing about the way that that person that they murdered, how they died. That's what is stalking with light, and doing so in a helicopter. Stalking. Psychopathic. Okay? This is a threat to the public. And the city of Ontario is being entirely defunded. Paul Leon's going to prison. Michael GERKEN, Mike LORENZ. You have the demons that are gang stalked by AMR. This covers so much at the same time. The demons of Alan D. WAPNER, the Ontario International Airport. This is what is so imprudent about what they do. They don't have any self-control because they are idiots. And I'm here to prosecute them and expose them to you. They're going to prison, and the entity is triggered because they're going to prison. And I'm documenting the fact that they are engaging in the criminal allegations, and you're going to prison for terrorism that is proven in the U.S. All right, defunding the population. They're not getting any government assistance. And even those that are driving around in Mercedes-Benz, which I don't think is particularly indicative of status, those that are on welfare are driving Mercedes-Benz. But my point is that even those that are living in homes, they get government assistance. They get loans and refund. You're not getting any of that. You're not getting a dime. Not a dime. And their demon-possessed children are not a basis to support them either. The terrorists in this country are being cut off, and all the means of funding terrorism, like what the city of Ontario is, there will be no police department, no fire department. They're engaged in surveillance. They're not engaged in policing and firefighting. That Ontario Civic Center is engaged in terrorism. They're not engaged in handling the business of the people, and it will not exist anymore, and there will be no funds going toward that. They are paying terrorists. They have created positions in order to pay them and create a paycheck, a position to engage in what is the purpose of this entire demonic society, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. And it's going to be entirely defunded, just like what you're witnessing in Upland, California. This is what the state of California is engaging in, and resources, an abundance of resources will be found upon defunding terrorism, and the entity is going to be also subject to prison. These terrorists are being removed from office, and you have a large portion that are going to prison and mental institutions, and this is also going to be the recovery of an abundance of resources. Dealing with the corrupt infrastructure, and it's corrupt because demons have been running the system. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. It is currently 5:42 p.m. where the mentally ill are attacking me. The mentally ill make up the U.S. government. This is the U.S. government's handiwork. Stalking with impossible light, stalking under a fake sun, pulling out helicopters. This is what the entity is doing when they're terrorizing nations and other countries, and the U.S. government is doing it to American citizens. And Mike LORENZ is going to federal prison for it, amongst many others. This is P.O.C. Again, this is license plate. This is prison. Okay? 88466D3. Everybody else is vulnerable. Okay, the demon that's inside of the smoke shop, very likely an immigrant, a candidate at least for an immigrant subject to deportation. And that's, again, following prison, because you're going to serve your time in prison, and then you're going to be shipped out of here. All right, this is P.O.C. It is currently 5:43 p.m.
All right, you'll recall my documentation. Look at that light. Those are demons operating, coaches. Bus 1216, license 1613617. And stopping at the bus stop is merely the outer guise for stalking with light activity under the fake sun that's at the same bus stop where I'm present. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, and Omnitrans is gang stalking at the Whole Boulevard car wash, and the fake sun is right here over me. And this is, of course, where the demons that know that they're going to prison provide the demonstration before the world that the United States government is a domestic terrorist. Okay, what you also need to know is that there are a bunch of homosexuals. They're frustrated, and they're actually envious of me having a vagina. While they don't even like women, they're envious of the vagina that I have. That's why they also worship it. But this is nonetheless criminal conduct. Mike LORENZ is going to prison. Mike LORENZ is going to prison. And those in the U.S. government, guess what? They're going to prison. Mr. Trump is very much apprised of what the U.S. government is doing in Ontario, California. Much apprised. While the demon-possessed are part of the United States military that are keeping us under surveillance and that are psychologically torturing us using war tactics on American citizens, war tactics that don't work on me. Neither do their homosexual rituals and their pedophilia acts. Their sex ring with children is not giving them any spiritual power. It's giving them federal cases. And that's what's significant about the demons that are suicidal. They literally admitted to an Omnitrans crosses path, impossible light activity. Ontario police, these thirsty vagina monitors in Ontario police vehicles that they're going to be removed from, that they're going to be ejected out of. 2 of these demons crossed paths, desperate for my attention, and they were waiting to engage in what is stalking in helicopter. Why? When you're going to federal prison for it. These demons are engaging what is conduct that they know is resulting in prison, because this certainly isn't any witchcraft. This is not magical. This is the admission of the federal government that's a stalker, and so are they. 6 GLG 797, that's prison. This is prison. 32498 Kelly 3, that's prison. This is license EF09J28, 9UPL532 is on the back. That's prison. And guess who else is going to prison? You see Safeco? Remember when the gang members, including Sergeant Hall, she's going to prison. While the entity is having this display of gang stalking, guess who is by name we can identify just off the bat? Richie, Sergeant Hall, Johnson. They're all going to federal prison. They reported, pursuant to criminal summoning, they admitted in video evidence where the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking in that video and where they're surrounding me in Engineer Light like I'm surrounded right now in Engineer Light. Like what you see dragging behind Omnitrans on the sidewalk. Under fake sun that's here at this same venue, at this location, where the entity is flying in circles, engaging in what is another iteration of stalking as a department. All those gang members that admitted to what is viewing my surveillance, viewing my documentation of surveillance that I'm subject to. Unintelligent. That's what came out of top cop Sergeant Hall's mouth. She's going to prison, and so are all the rest of those band members that are calling themselves police officers, and they're not. They're puppets of the U.S. military. And the U.S. military is engaged in terrorism in the U.S. against American citizens. And they're doing so, and they trusted these puppets over here that are stalking, providing a banner for why they're going to be committed. Martial law, commitments, federal prison, including Sergeant Hall. Sergeant Hall that is gang stalking me by engaging in what is, oh, you're writing out a citation for trespassing when you are stalking me? Is that what we're doing? The terrorists that engaged in criminal summoning in a federal prison as well. This is Safeco right here, 530 West Hole Boulevard. I went back on multiple occasions because these demons are going to prison. And I went back, if you recall, in the morning. I went back again in the latter part of the morning. And I'm reminding you about what is currently now 6:15 p.m. on the same street where the entity is indeed stalking. And it's not in Fontana where Michael Dorsey's going to prison as well. Gang stalking under a fake sun, proving that you are targeting a specific person. All right? This is the entity that is very much indeed given up. And it's good that they give up because this is the entity that has lost in that which they were never going to be successful against Christ Jesus. All right? And this is the reality of who the Lord is. And he is the one who has already conquered the grave. These are the dead that are being engaged in what is demonic activity. They're the dead people that are monitoring all of those of us who have a pulse, who are alive, living and thriving and have a future which Satan cannot take from you. He can't do it. All he can do is monitor and pace around you and stalk you with light. And when they do that and you document, they're also going to prison and they're going to be committed. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct while they're engaging in what is a failed ritual. They don't have any authority in Christ Jesus. They are losing their mind in real time while you're watching them stalking. Alright, there's no question about who the Emporia Place apartments are stalking. This apartment complex is stalking me. Everybody on the roads and the highways is stalking me. The demons that are gang stalking at Stater Brothers, Erica's name is on the receipt. She's engaged in stalking, doing so systematically. She's going to prison. All right? The demons that are operating these buses, they're going to prison. I documented them stalking me with the city of Fontana and the city of Ontario. While this entity engaged in, this is supposed to be a ritual. This is supposed to be some sort of magical work. It's not. Everybody is laughing that you're watching. You're laughing at what is the mental illness, the crash out of the demon possessed that are engaged in gang stalking, which is mentally ill behavior. That's what this is. This is mentally ill behavior conjured up by the demon possessed that engage in anal sex with each other, and Satan has them thinking that they're garnering magical powers, and they're not. And this is literally the reason why they need to be committed, and they shall. This is P.O.C. This is the pattern of conduct, and this is the entity that hands over evidence to me. They hand over evidence to me because they know that they are inferior and they don't have a choice. This is P.O.C. This is Vine and Whole Boulevard under the fake sun. I'll attach those videos. P.O.C.
Alrighty, these are the cartwheels that UPS continues to engage in over and over and over again and over and over and over again over the Ontario Senior Center, and also stalking by continuing west over the Ontario Senior Center and over the apartment complex for the senior citizens, the John Stewart Company Senior Citizen Complex. And in doing that, they're also flying over the Ontario City Hall where the fake moon sprang up. Okay, so where this demon is coming from, at the opposite end, the fake sunset, and this is where the fake moon popped up. And I remember when I'm documenting Michael Dorsey stalking me in Fontana, the entity is keeping the fake moon over the Fontana Lewis Library as I walk out, and then the entity has the fake moon over me as I get off the bus in Ontario, California, where the city of Ontario is stalking by plane and helicopter as I get off, okay?
What you're listening to is criminal summoning, which is exactly what the demons of the city of Ontario committed as I was walking toward this venue where you saw the fake sun at the Ontario Town Square. Erica, that works inside of the Ovid Family Community Library, gang stalking. She's crossing path with another third party, engaging in that with the city of Ontario that's gang stalking me, following with planes and helicopter from Stater Brothers to Ovid Family Community Library, where the fake moon is located, where UPS is gang stalking, like you hear them engaging with criminal summoning. This is P.O.C. This is the government that has, again, you see the mental illness of the demon stalking Mike LORENZ by helicopter. This is an entity that's engaging in what is criminal activity that it is obvious. That is obvious and that they are not trying to conceal. They're also not concealing the fact that they lied on my character, the fact that defamation by the Ontario Police Department is currently on the internet regarding kidnappings that they committed. They are also not hiding the fact that there is no department, including Shannon Dykes of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, that has any authority under the law regarding the kidnappings that the Ontario Police Department committed. And it's the same with the gang stalker branch of Cucamonga Superior Court. And them claiming that they have any warrants, any paperwork where they're admitting that they're going to federal prison. This is the entity that is still stalking, and they're stalking with the people of the state. This is a demon. He's engaged in activity creation and doing so under the fake moon where the entity had the setting of the fake sun. This is where the Ovid Family Community Library is located. The demons that work inside of this venue, just like Adam Tucker at the Upland Public Library, just like Lisa Hazel of the Fontana Lewis Library, they are going to federal prison. Okay, this is the city of Ontario, the government that's engaged in the pattern of conduct as they have engaged in that, as they're doing so now, and the entity's doing cartwheels. That has nothing, like I said, this is blatant stalking, just blatant stalking. The government cannot hide it because the government, these are demons, they're mentally ill. They are mentally ill, and I caught it all on video. Okay, now we're going back and we're going to prosecute for every lie told, every act of thievery, every sexual violent act committed, and the entity is doing so in concert with the people. And Leo with Securitas is engaged in psychopathic pacing, monitoring, gang stalking, and psychologically torturing me as an employee of Securitas that I'll prosecute, and himself, who is engaging in what is criminal summoning with, again, Sergeant Hall, who's going to federal prison. That's on video while that department is stalking me. Outside of the doors of the Ontario City Hall, Paul Leon is fully engaged in criminal surveillance. He's going to be federally prosecuted, and this is a slam dunk case. It's already completed. The entity is engaged in public corruption right in front of your face. This is federal stalking under Title 18. They pace all around, studying their devices, monitoring, and these are vagina monitors that are on the loose, the domestic terrorists who are the people of the state, the demon-possessed. Roaming under a fake sun over me where they worship my genitalia, and they worship everything about me, and they study their devices as dead demons who give birth to dead people. Okay, even their minions that they give birth to are a threat to the public. Okay, the entity with stalking, that's what their job is, and that's why the government's being removed from altogether because of this lawlessness that's underway, criminal surveillance. This is P.O.C, and this is what I've been documenting the entity doing over and over again, plane after plane. Doing so with regard to stalking right where I'm at. This is where they're doing the cartwheels. This is where the entity is maintaining the commercial flights. And this is where there are no planes coming from the terminals, including any sort of takeoff or landing. And you're not going to any destination. You're not doing anything other than stalking me, targeting where I'm at by doing cartwheels right in front of me. Where the fake moon popped up, by the way. And where the fake sun set right here. P.O.C.
Alrighty, this is just maintaining the record. Leo is continuously engaging in what is sexual assault and battery. This is a psychopath, and he's continuing as he's getting off of work and he's walking away as he turns the corner right here, being molested with impossible light activity. This is a demon, and this is his means of harassing while he's engaged in what is, as I documented, him cussing at me, him using my status as a transient as a means of kicking me out from the Ontario Civic Center, which isn't closed, and where I'm sleeping and where you're living is irrelevant when it's not closed. He's engaging in what is another method of harassment while he is monitoring with the people of the state. And this is a demon that's engaging, just like that demon is stalking with light. Leo's doing that while he is crossing path. He is a psychopath, and this is a third party, and he's doing so on behalf of the entity that's stalking by plane and helicopter. It is very much psychological torture. It's also sexually violent while he is engaged in a molestation that is accomplishing criminal monitoring in concert with the demons who are the people of the state that are monitoring me to that light activity. And this is the ongoing state action. This is Ovid Family Community Library engaging in that. Again, like I documented days ago, it's April 30th at 9:21 p.m. This is when he gets off. So he puts the cart
away in here, and he's crossing path, and he's monitoring me while doing engaging in what is harassment. Leo is going to federal prison. This is the entity that's engaged in that. This is Mike LORENZ that's acting through a population of sex offenders, of stalkers, and Securitas and the third party Leo are engaging in that together. This is again targeting me while I'm over here on the side of the library. All right, this is the P.O.C. This is a demon that's engaged in that under the fake, and he's entirely psychotic. He's engaged in what is monitoring. I'm literally on the internet, so it is monitoring, having a functional purpose regarding criminal monitoring on my device. And it's also that which he's doing while he is engaged in what is discrimination, and he's harassing me based on his racist issues, based on his issue with regard to harassing me as a demon that's engaged in targeting me, doing so on behalf of the Ontario Police Department, who are harassing, and they harass through the people of the state. This is the same entity that's engaged in what is criminal summoning. That's Leo engaging in criminal summoning, so I'm just speaking to that. And his documented pattern of also molesting me with engineered light. This is sexual violence, a pattern of that. P.O.C. It is currently 9:22 p.m. This is the entity that's gang stalking at the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library. This is P.O.C. This is the Ovitt Family Community Library. And this is the criminal activity that Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks are squarely responsible for. This is the U.S. government that is gang stalking me and doing so in conformity to the criminal pattern of conduct that Jason Fields and Tracy Banks remain engaged in. In fact, while I am publishing threads on X, the United States government, this is the Ontario International Airport, is gang stalking me by plane, and it's directly tethered to Jason, who does not have any sort of modelic character, while I am speaking frankly about who he is, what he's done, and the wicked and malicious plot that he has were he to ever approach me while gang stalking me at the same time. The audacity, in other words, to conspicuously engage in what is surveilling me, which is all that would be happening were he to physically approach me while I remain subject to this criminal pattern of conduct. Jason Fields is going to federal prison. And being desperate with regard to lying about being married to me when we were not even friends. He's been cut off since June 2nd, 2018. And any brief conversations, which happened once in 2022 after being relieved from kidnapping by him, the entity, and in 2025 after while being kidnapped by him, the entity that is still gang stalking me now, which he is engaging in. That is part of an ongoing investigation. That is not pursuant to any genuine relationship or friendship. He has been discarded, and he continuously is stalking me and approaching me as a desperate act with regard to his fear of going to prison, and he should be fearful because that's where he's going. This is P.O.C. It is not about being apologetic, whether or not that's actually the case in the first place. I am still being targeted, and he's going to prison for that, period. All right, this is someone that is requiring me to associate with him so that it can look like we've had a relationship, and we have not. The relationship has been him stalking me and me being stalked by him unbeknownst to me, and him also having sex with my aged mother behind my back and everyone else that I know. Whores like Shanita Ramaya McLean. Having sex with people I don't even associate with. They're all a part of this same sex cult while they're gang stalking me in planes and helicopters, praying to Satan for my death. No, I will never communicate with Jason Fields. And it is a criminal act, a malicious act of seeking to coerce association with me. Even if this demon comes with a wet face and flowers in his hands, it's a criminal act threatening my safety, and I will prosecute him for it. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:33 p.m. This is P.O.C. That's the gang stalking Ontario Police Department, who are targeting on behalf of Jason Fields as well. Flying right over me, targeting me where the fake moon is, right over me, while they're monitoring what it is that I'm putting on the internet regarding their co-defendant, their plan to gang stalk me and then permit Jason Fields, because of my desperation, because of my fear, because of my believing that Jason is in love with me after he's been having anal sex with Tracy Banks, my elderly mom, for years, who's still actively conspiring my murder, including while the Ontario police, the U.S. military are stalking me by helicopter. And that's supposed to be the entryway of Jason Fields into my life. Jason Fields is a homosexual. Jason Fields is a co-conspirator of murder. Jason Fields is monitoring me, doing so by helicopter as I am typing about him on X right now. No, it's not going to happen, and Jason Fields is going to prison, and that's what you all are going to witness. This is a psychopath. Very, very crazy. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs to even have this sort of plot. You really think that you're going to gang stalk me, and then you also thought that defaming me was going to be successful. You're going to prison, and you're going to be subject to mental examinations. This is to Jason Isaac Fields. None of your gay sex rituals and none of the conduct that you're engaging in with Tracy Banks, none of that sexual activity, none of the poor advice that you got, and none of this gang stalking by Mike Lorenz or Michael Dorsey or Darren Goodman or Alan D. WAPNER, none of that is getting you into my circle. It will never cease to be the fact that you lied about marrying me on paper, and me associating with you would not make that legitimate either, by the way. But that's not going to happen. You're a terrorist, and you're a vagina monitor, you're a sex offender, you're a murderer. And you literally are trying to coerce. That's not going to work, and you're psychotic for even thinking that. You are directly, this is an entity that's engaged in gang stalking me while I am speaking to the fact that Jason Isaac Fields is a gang stalker and that he is not going to associate with me. And if he ever approaches me, this is the criminal activity that he's engaging in. He's gang stalking me in my face, and he's going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. They are gang stalking me on behalf of Jason Fields, who is a psychopath, a rapist, a sex offender, who is a sex offender that engages in what is watching my vagina on cameras, while he has sex with my mother, Tracy Banks, and while they pray to Satan, engaging in what are homosexual acts while he does with other men. This is somebody that's nothing other than a psychopath and a stalker. He doesn't have any spiritual authority. And also, you don't have a plan, because gang stalking me is going to cause me to prosecute you. I will never befriend you. Tracy is blocked, and I have no idea why you would think you're different, but you're not. And I'm not going anywhere with you. And everyone is witnessing why. I will never associate with you. I will never converse with you. I will never have tea and cupcakes with you. I wouldn't go anywhere with you. I wouldn't go to the liquor store on the corner with you. I'm not going anywhere with Jason Isaac Fields. He's a murderer, and they're gang stalking me. And he's going to federal prison because he's lied about my character, and he has stolen a lot of assets from me, and for that he is going to federal prison. And gang stalking me was the wrong move. This is P.O.C. P.O.C. And there's the fake moon right there, flying right over me. And City of Ontario is here stalking in the path. I just took a picture. This demon is sitting in the vehicle, stalking in perfect alignment with the government that's maintaining commercial planes at this hour, and there's no flights over here. Right? This is the stalking by itself. The City of Ontario is gang stalking on behalf of the U.S. military. This is exactly what Jason Isaac Fields. All these homosexual military personnel who are infected with HIV because of all the gay rituals, the gay sex rituals that they've been engaging in. And this is the entity that's engaging what is, instead of tending to those serious issues like your burning genitalia in the absence of any cure for it, and the fact that you're going to prison with that burning genitalia, they're steady stalking me in commercial airline planes. This is the military that's using these commercial airline planes. And this is the government that's engaging what is gang stalking and doing so with the entity. The City of Ontario, Paul Leon is gang stalking because of the U.S. military, and Paul Leon's going to federal prison. This is criminal surveillance. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging what is stalking in the path, turning on the headlights as the entity starts soaring, hovering in a commercial plane over the Ontario City Hall where there are no flights taking off over here. This is light activity and relevant positioning under the fake moon. This is P.O.C. This is gang stalking by the municipality in the middle of the night. So the demons that are going to prison, and Jason Fields is of this entity that's engaging in that conduct. This is, again, part of the same cult
of homosexuals that are envious of me because they don't like women, but yet you're envious that I am a woman and you're envious of who I am, and so they sought to gang stalk me. Jason Fields is going to prison, and he's going to prison just like the rest of them with burning genitalia. They have HIV, and they're not tending to that. They're angry and frustrated at me because of what they bargained with Satan about, and they lost in that endeavor. And now you're watching a real-time crash out, a downward spiral, while they are literally waiting for how they're going to wind up in prison, because that's exactly where they're going. They're going to prison with HIV on top of that. This is P.O.C. That's where gay sex rituals get you. It's not getting you my money. It's not getting you any spiritual power. It's getting you HIV. That's what the U.S. military is. They are not noble and higher and honorable. They're gay stalking minions. They're psychopaths. Stalking me in the middle of the night, doing things like stalking with light, sharing a mental illness with a population of stalkers. That's what the U.S. military is. That's what the U.S. military is doing in the United States also. That's just the beginning of judgment, contracting HIV. The entity continuously is engaging in targeting. It's going to get worse, whether you can believe that or not. Worse than HIV, but it's going to get worse. This is P.O.C.